Alright, hey there guys, Ito DeCosta here, aka JediBro95. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. In this video is going to be the start of my badge list series. Now, I wanted to originally do this as a top 8 best, top 8 worst, top 8 most useful, top 8 most useless, badges that take no skill, badges that take skill. I wanted to do all of that, but after thinking about it for a little while, I decided to say that, let me put these in actually by tiers, much like what I've seen a lot of people on YouTube do, not just for 2K badges, but also for the NBA community as well. They rank their players based on tiers throughout NBA history and shit. So I decided let me do it for this as well, and we're gonna start with finishing. Now, how I'm going to rank these badges. Uh, Personally, I'm gonna start off with the badge in question, and then I'm gonna explain why I think it should be an A tier, B tier, C, S. You know what I mean? And just give my overall impression of it. And how I will rank them is basically by effectiveness, how useful it is in this game, um, and if it's a necessity. Like, if all three of these are not like in the highest of tiers or whatnot, then they're probably like lower on the. You get what I mean, right? Like, I hope so. So moving on, let's start off with our first badge, which is going to be Acrobat. Now, Acrobat, I am going to put in at A tier. I think it is a good badge, but I don't really think you need it on Hall of Fame or Gold, especially if you were using shot aiming, just due to the fact that um, with shot aiming, it's a lot easier to control your reverse layups and shit. And you don't really need the boost when it comes to the Euro steps, layups and shit like that. So I'm gonna put this at A tier. But if you do want to upgrade it to Hall of Fame, if you have like 24, 25 finishing badges, yeah, I think you should put this on Hall of Fame. Now, Back Down Punisher, I'm going to go ahead and put this in the D tier for myself because Back Down Punisher, first of all, Back Down Punisher is one of the newbiest badges I have ever seen 2K implement into this game ever. Like, the fact that all you have to do is just hold R2 and push your opponent, like, that takes no skill whatsoever, gentlemen. But post scorers love this obviously because it can help get their men closer to the basket, so that way uh, they can do their stupid fucking hook shots or cheesy piece of shit fadeaways, whatever. You know, fuck post scorers. But the reason I'm putting this in a D tier is because, like, would you like? I personally find that there are better badges for post scoring, like for example, drop stepper, deep hooks, and even things like cross key score. I would say are better than back down Punisher, but I'm gonna go ahead and put back down Punisher in the D tier. Now moving on to consistent finisher. Consistent finisher, I'm gonna put in the C tier. However, depending on if you're using stick or if you're using button, you could put it in the A tier or lower. But I'm evening it out at C tier because, for me personally, when it comes to myself, I am a stick user. Okay, I use the shot stick, um, and I've had great success with it. And personally, I find that a lot of the times with my layups, I'm putting it within the window, so I don't really need consistent finisher because consistent finisher with the stick triggers on right or left or wide right or wide left layups. If you get it within the target window, then it doesn't really matter as much because Pro Touch activates, and Pro Touch, in my opinion, is a significantly better badge. But if you're using a button and whatnot, then I could definitely see you putting this on Gold or Hall of Fame and bumping this up to the A tier. But as for myself, I'm putting it at C tier just because I'm evening it out. Also, it still does trigger on those shot stick layups, but I've taken it off and just put it on some other badges, and I've noticed no difference when it comes to my layup finishing. So take that for what you will. Contact finisher, this is a clear-cut S tier badge. Every slasher in the game or every big man in the game that has Hall of Fame finishing badges or even just a good amount of finishing badges to where they can get contact dunks need this badge. This badge is still, in my opinion, a top 3 finishing badge in this game, other than Pro Touch and Showtime, in my opinion. I am being dead serious about that, but I'll explain it to it when I get there. But contact finisher obviously just increases your contact dunk percentage. And even though it says it finishes, helps out with your contact layups, I fail to see it, gentlemen. But even then, getting a poster animation is pretty great every now and then. Cross key score, I'm going to put this in the D tier as well, just because realistically speaking, there are better badges out there. Like, granted, I would still say, obviously, cross key score you would definitely use if you got, like, say, 35 plus finishing badges, just as something to try out, especially if you're on, like, a post scoring big. And also with cross key score, it works on like fadeaways. It works on like you're going across the lane and you're doing a little standing layup or a hook shot. I think that is definitely useful. Is obviously useful in that situation. But I just find personally that you don't really need cross key score like that. Deep hooks, I'm gonna put this in the A tier. Deep hooks is still broken because the hook shots in this game are still disgusting and they are still overpowered to the point where anybody could do a post hook from anywhere it seems, and they can get it to go even if they're just within the window. And it's mind-blowing to see how post scores and hook shots are still broken in this game. We said that we hated it last year. We all complained about it, but 2K just didn't listen. Like, what a shock, right? 2K doesn't listen. So I'll put deep hooks in the A tier just because of how broken hook shots are in general. Drop stepper, I'm gonna put this in the B tier. You definitely want drop stepper, but I think you should prioritize, in my opinion, badges like deep hooks, contact finisher, pro touch, putback boss, even slithery finisher, in my opinion, as a big man. But if you got enough and you can play in the post, then I would definitely consider you putting on drop stepper if you got like 18 finishing badges, right? Because you can get your Hall of Fame contact, your Hall of Fame pro touch, your gold putback boss, so that's a lot of 11. I would say pick and roller you could put up in there too, so put that in like Hall of Fame, so that's like 15, and then like 18 for slithery, or maybe put gold slithery, gold pick and roller, and gold pro touch, and then you got like silver drop stepper. Fancy footwork, I'm gonna put this in the B tier. Fancy footwork did take a considerably big hit this year, and on one hand I'm glad that it did take a hit, but on the other hand I'm not really, because the problem with the hop steps last year wasn't the fact that fancy footwork was broken. The problem I found was just hop steps in general were just OP as fuck. I saw big men with like 2 finishing badges last year hop stepping through the lane like they're goddamn fucking Dwayne Wade on some on some nut shit. I saw people last year with like a guard with 1 finishing badge be still hop stepping through the lane like crazy. Like, it's not the badge itself, it's the fact that hop steps in general were just insane. And if you want to put this in the A tier, personally, I would be okay with that. But I think for myself, this goes in the B tier, borderline A tier shit. Fast break finisher, I'm going to put this in the B tier as well. Fast break finisher has definitely been improved this year, and I'm really happy with that because this was useless last year. Basically, you got like no takeover when you finished on the dunk, even if you had it on Hall of Fame and then fast break. So I'm glad that this is much better this year. You still get a decent size amount of takeover, and with slasher takeover, because I've actually tested with this badge in like the My Player Builder. Even on gold, I was getting like 2 run-out dunks with slasher takeover, and then I had takeover immediately on gold. So like Hall of Fame, you probably have like 2 dunks, but it's like maybe 3 dunks to team takeover in Hall of Fame fast break finisher. So I'm glad that this badge is great, and I will put this in the B tier. Giant Slayer, I'm putting this badge in the D tier because I have found, people might question it for me, but I have found that Giant Slayer has been completely destroyed this year. This badge is completely useless. It serves no purpose anymore because I have noticed that it just never activates anymore. And I don't understand why they killed Giant Slayer. Like, is it something that was in 2K20 that I didn't know people were complaining about that they brought over to 2K21? Is it just, something that is in the game that doesn't make it trigger? Like, what is it about Giant Slayer that doesn't work? But anyways, other than that, personally, I find there are so many better finishing badges this year. Like, I would say Fast Break Finisher is better. I would say Showtime is better. I would say Pro Touch is better this year. Slithery Finisher is obviously better. Contact Finisher is better. I would say Consistent's better. But if you are a slasher with like 25 finishing badges, like a guard, I definitely would put this on like gold, just to increase your layups overall. But I don't really see how one would want to use Giant Slayer, in my opinion. Lob City Finisher, I'm going to put this in the B tier. This one I mainly have found with non-athletic players, but could still, like, I have a high dunk rating. Like, for example, like these Paint Beasts with, like, a low vert, but they could still catch lobs. This is the badge for you. However, for myself, I have found that, for me personally, that I don't necessarily need Lob City Finisher because I could still catch lobs like crazy because my guard build, my slashing playmaker guard is super athletic. Like, it has like a 97, 98 vert, give or take. Let me just check here real quick. So it's a 96 vert. Like, that is still pretty high for a guard, for an athletic guard. So personally, I don't feel like I need Lob City Finisher, but if you got like an 86, like an 82 vertical and good driving dunk, I would definitely put this on silver, maybe gold. And if you got badge points to waste, maybe put this, if you have like, say, 23, 24 badge points, and you got some to waste, like, for example, you're cool with gold Pro Touch, you're cool with gold Slithery, you might be like, okay, let me put on Lob City Finisher on silver just because. Or put it on bronze, because realistically speaking, you don't need it that much. Pick and roller, I'm putting this at the C tier, and the only reason I'm putting it at C tier is because I'm evening it out for both guards and bigs for finishing. Obviously, for guard, it's the worst badge. You never need this badge. But for bigs, I think this badge is criminally underrated. Being able to finish better off the roll in the pick and roll, especially with the meta in this game being Curry slide behind a screen all game, and if someone jumps the lane, you pass it off, and then you got someone coming over to try and stop you, but you still can get that extra percentage boost in there because of how great pick and roller is. So I would say this is about a B tier, maybe an A tier for a big. For bigs, like if you got like 17, 18 finishing badges, I would say get this on silver, maybe gold, depending on how many badges you have. Yeah, personally, that's what I feel about pick and roller. Pro Touch, I'm putting this in S tier. This is the second, maybe even third best finishing badge in this game, in my personal opinion. Pro Touch is insane this year. Maybe it was insane in 2K20, but you never knew because the layup timing was fucking horrible. Like, it didn't matter when you released the layup, you will always get a late on it, which drove me mad every single time I went up for a layup. Didn't matter how I released it, it was always late. But this year, with the addition of the stick, being able to control your aiming with it and getting it within that window obviously is going to allow you to get Pro Touch more. And I cannot tell you how many times I've hit 50% contested layups with Hall of Fame Pro Touch. I cannot tell you how many times I've hit crazy layups that nobody thought I was going to make. Like, I legit have greened 82%. I've greened above 80% covered layups with this badge because of how broken and insane it is. Maybe that's because I centered the stick pretty damn well. Maybe it's because this badge is OP. I'll let you decide that in the comments. But yeah, it's just, in my opinion, this is the third best finishing badge in the game. If you have like 9 badge points, definitely look to get this on silver, maybe even gold, depending on your play style. Like, if you're a sharpshooter cutting out of the corner and you catch a nice pass from your PG, maybe put it on silver so that way you get some extra touch around the basket. Maybe even bronze if you want to save points. But yes, I would definitely get Hall of Fame. But if you're a slasher, obviously get Hall of Fame Pro Touch. Putback Boss, I'm going to put this at B tier. Again, I'm leveling it out again. Guards, you don't need it at all. Bigs, Bigs is an interesting one. I feel like for interior bigs this year, like Paint Beast with gold finishing badges, or glass locks, like pure defensive glass locks, or even Hall of Fame finishing badge Paint Beasts. I feel like this is a badge that you absolutely need to get because it's a way for you to get a lot of your points. especially off people who are Curry sliding and they can't get open, so they chuck up a three, and then you get the ball and put it back in. I think this is really great for those types of paint beasts that are crashing the boards, getting the extra possessions. Um, Personally, I think this is a really great badge. If you have about, say, 10 finishing badges after you can get like Hall of Fame, like your contact, your slithery, and your pro touch, maybe look to get, or maybe even before your pro touch, maybe look to get put back boss. So yeah, Relentless Finisher. Moving on next. I'm gonna put this in C tier. Uh, it definitely does save you stamina, but like the thing I have is just the fact that stamina is terrible already this year, and I don't really know if it saves you that much stamina throughout the game. I could be wrong. Somebody let me know if I am wrong, and let me know if I'm totally sleeping on this badge. But as of for right now, I really don't see the point in having Relentless Finisher. But if you have like 23 badge points and you're looking to save some badges, obviously maybe put this on like bronze or silver. But I don't really see the issue, the need for Relentless Finisher. Now, Showtime, this is an S tier badge for me. If you watched one of my more recent videos on Showtime, you will understand how broken this badge is, and I'm actually very happy for that. Now, I have it on gold because I feel like Hall of Fame Slithery Finisher is much more important, but if I had an extra finishing badge point, I definitely would have this on Hall of Fame, because being able to get these flashy dunks, especially when you get steals and get steals or get blocks and you get runouts and get a flashy dunk in transition, or even in the half court, I've pulled it off where you can get like a flashy dunk. I've gotten 360 windmill posters without a contact dunk this year, and it triggered Showtime. But yeah, and also Showtime triggers on and ones too. So if you catch the ball, cut to the basket, get an and one, you give your team extra takeover bonus. My only complaint with this badge, and it's a very small one, is that I wish it triggered on lob finishes and posters. That would make this badge just even more crazy than it already is. But I'm putting this in the S tier. If you have like, if you are a slasher build that can get it on Hall of Fame, and you have like, maybe you don't prioritize Slithery, maybe you have like 17, 18 finishing badges, give Showtime a try, guys. If you're not a fan of Pro Touch, maybe go like Hall of Fame Showtime, whatever. But, I definitely recommend, if you haven't tried it already, give Showtime a try. I promise you will not regret it. Slithery Finisher, I'm also putting in the S tier, but I'm putting it in the border between S and A. Because I feel like Slithery Finisher did take a bit of a nerf this year, because even though like it's harder to get, like it still is easy to get through the lane if you know what you're doing with hop steps and shit like that. But I have also found like even then sometimes you still get in animations where you get contested. So realistically speaking, it doesn't help that much. But even that being said, I still would put it on Hall of Fame or even gold at the minimum. For if you have like 7 or 8 shooting badges and you're not a slasher, put this on like silver or something to help your finishing. But if you are a slasher, there's absolutely no reason to at least get this badge on gold. And Teardropper, I'm putting in the D tier, mainly because nobody really shoots floaters like that. And I find that even when you do shoot floaters, if you're good with your timing, Pro Touch is more than enough to really compensate for your floater percentage. So I really don't think you need Teardropper, so I'm putting the Teardropper in the D tier. But with that being said, here is my full-on tier list, as I mentioned before. So let me know in the comment section below, gentlemen, if you agree or disagree with anything I said. Keep on the lookout for the more of these videos. I'm obviously going to be covering shooting, playmaking, and defense in the coming days. But with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Moat. Peace.